Yannirmitam karhi api karma parvanim mayam janoyam gunasarga mohitaha naveda nistarana yoga manjasa tasmai namaste vilayodayatmani. Yat, by whom, nirmitam, created, karhi api, at any time, karma parvanim, which ties the knots of fruitive activity, mayam, the illusory energy, janaha, a person, ayam, this, guna sarga mohitaha, bewildered by the three modes of material nature, na, not, veda, knows, nistarana yogam, the process of getting out of material entanglement, anjasa, soon, tasmai, unto him, the Supreme, namaha, respectful obeisances, te, unto you, vilaya udaya atmane, in whom everything is annihilated and from whom everything is again manifested. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. Translation: the illusory energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead binds all of us conditioned souls to this material world. Therefore, without being favored by Him, persons like us cannot understand how to get out of that illusory energy. Let me offer my respectful obeisances unto the Lord, who is the cause of creation and annihilation. Please respond. The illusory energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead binds all of us, conditioned souls, to this material world. Therefore, without being favored by Him, persons like us cannot understand how to get out of that illusory energy. Let me offer my respectful obeisances unto the Lord, who is the cause of creation and annihilation. Purport: Krishna clearly states in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 7, text 14, Devi Esha Guna Mayi Mama Maya Turatyaya Mam Eva Ye Prapadyante Mayam Etan Tarantite. This divine energy of mind, consisting of the three modes of material nature, is difficult to overcome, but those who have surrendered unto me can easily cross beyond it. All conditioned souls working within the illusory energy of the Lord consider the body to be the self, and thus they continuously wander throughout the universe, taking birth in different species of life and creating more and more problems. Sometimes they become disgusted with the problems and seek out a process by which they can get out of this entanglement. Unfortunately, such so-called research workers are unaware of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and its illusory energy, and thus all of them work only in darkness, never finding a way out. So-called scientists and advanced research scholars are ludicrously trying to find the cause of life. They take no notice of the fact that life is already being produced. What will be their credit if they find out the chemical composition of life? All their chemicals are nothing but different transformations of the five elements: earth, water, fire, air, and ether. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, text 20, the living entity is never created. Na jayate mriyate va kadachin. There are five gross material elements and three minor material elements: mind, intelligence, and ego, and there are eternal living entities. The living entity desires a certain type of body, and by the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, that body is created from material nature, which is nothing but a kind of machine handled by the Supreme Lord. The Lord gives the living entity a particular type of mechanical body, and the living entity must work with it according to the law of fruitive activities. Fruitive activities are described in this verse: karma, Parvanim Mayam. The living entity is seated on a machine, the body, and according to the order of the Supreme Lord, he operates the machine. This is the secret of transmigration of the soul from one body to another. The living entity thus becomes entangled in fruitive activities in this material world, as confirmed in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 15, text 7, Manaha Sastendriyani Prakritistani Karshati. The living entity is struggling very hard against the six senses, which include the mind. In all the activities of creation and annihilation, the living entity is entangled in fruitive activities which are executed by the illusory energy, Maya. He is exactly like a computer handled by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The so called scientists say that nature acts independently, but they cannot explain what nature is. Nature is nothing but a machine operated by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. When one understands the operator, his problems of life are solved. As Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 7, text 19, Bahunam Janmanam Ante Jnanamam Mam Prapadyante Vasudeva Sarvamiti Sa Mahatma Sudurlabha. After many births and deaths, he who is actually in knowledge surrenders unto me, knowing me to be the cause of all causes and all that is. Such a great soul is very rare. A sane man therefore surrenders to the Supreme Personality of Godhead and thus gets out of the clutches of the illusory energy Maya. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purports of the 5th canto, 17th chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled The Descent of the River Ganges. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Sthapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupam Gadamahyam Gadati Sapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Udavadagamalam Sri Gurum Vaishnavanscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Saganagunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Shadvaitam Shavadutam Parijanam Shaitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padam Sagaraguna Shishagamitam Scha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namaste Rapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanusutta Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhuvevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namarum Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesa Sunyavadi Paschatya Desatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So today's class, you can see how it's been explained that how we, the living entities, are fully under the control of Maya. Yes, we are firstly in this material world to, it's more of a rectification process to rectify our fault. That's why it's described many times that this is considered as a prison house. So in this prison house, there must be a reformation. Jai Shri Shri Radha Madan Mohan Ki. So when we are here in this material world, the living entity, us, constantly we are bewildered. That's why Srila Prabhupada explained, Devi Esha Gunamaya Mama Maya Turatyaya. There is no chance where we are at any time independent. We are always dependent and being forced to act. Yes, just like there is a saying, not even a blade of grass moves without the sanction of the law. I think yesterday, or I think last Friday's class as well, Prabhu gave that the Lord is the, somebody asked a question, I think. So the Lord is the one who permits our actions and Upadrasta Anumanta. So that is the position of the Lord and the position of us. So you can see here, What is the shortcut for searching? F2. You can see the misguided materialist does not know that his very body is impermanent and that the attractions of home, land, and wealth which are in relationship to that body are also temporary. Out of ignorance only, he thinks that everything is permanent. So you can see that everyone out there, nobody is actually inquiring, why am I suffering? Why am I doing? Why I have to do this? Why I have to? Why am I forced to do this? Why am I forced to do that? We are just, as they say, just going with the flow. Yes, just going with the flow. Oh, I have to do, okay, I'll do. But nobody is questioning. Just like the sheep who are going to be slaughtered, they are just going one by one. So what is the slaughter? Death. Yes. So again, after getting slaughtered, again repeated birth and death. This samsara continues until you are favored by the Supreme Lord. Until and unless you are favored by the Supreme Lord, you cannot come out from this material world. And you can see it goes on in the next verse. The living entity, in whatever species of life he appears, finds a particular type of satisfaction in that species, and he is never averse to being situated in such a condition. The conditioned living entity is satisfied in his own particular species of life while deluded by the covering influence of the illusory energy. He feels little inclined to cast off his body, even when in hell, for he takes delight in hellish enjoyment. So you can see that example of Lord Indra. When Lord Indra was cursed to become a pig, yes. So when he became a pig, when he finished his uh, duration of the curse, Lord Brahma came to tell him, "Hey, you are Lord Indra. You need to go back to your position and take up your post." So he said, "No, I am very comfortable here. I have my family, all my little piglets and pigs. This is I'm very happy here eating stool." So this is how much strong Maya is. We should not take it for granted that Maya is something very simple. Even I think in the Shikshamrita earlier we were reading how even asking what do you call that, uh, insignificant questions, that is also like Maya. Because one of the devotee was asking, is Hitler a good person or bad person? And then Srila Prabhupada replied that these are all immaterial. Our only concern is uh, Vedesya Sarve Aham Eva Vidya. All knowledge that we seek should be, the end result should be understanding Krishna as a Supreme Personality. I think yesterday's class Prabhu gave, it established that point uh, very thoroughly, how the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna is the Supreme Personality of God. So now you can see here in Nahi kaschit shanam api jatu tishtati akarmakrit karyate hi avashaha karma sarva prakirti jayad gunai. Everyone is forced to act helplessly according to the qualities he has acquired from the modes of nature. Therefore, no one can refrain from doing something, not even for a moment. This is the position of a living entity. We are always in need of doing something. So now, majority of our activities is circled around me and mine. Me and my means my house, my family, my my wife, my children. So because of this, we are suffering in this material world because of this me and my understanding. And not for a moment we are able to be free. This Prakriti, I think all of you should know. Prakriti Kriyamani Guna Karmi Sarvasha Ankar Vimudatma Kartaham iti Manyate. The spirit soul bewildered by the influence of false ego thinks himself the doer of activities that are in actuality carried out by the three modes of material nature. So that's why in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, you rise above the modes, Arjuna. Yes, come above the modes. Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma. Yeah. Then you won't be influenced by happiness or distress. Nistraigunya Bhava Arjuna. That is the purpose we are practicing this Krishna conscious movement or this Krishna conscious practice we are doing is to get above these modes of material nature. Because as so long as we are in these modes of material nature, then we are always being entangled or forced to do fruitive activities. Yes, once you are forced to do fruitive activities, then because of fruitive activities, then you have resultant repercussions such as, karma follows suit. Cannot escape. And then that's why in today's verse it said that you are bounded. Bounded. You cannot escape. When, however, one is enlightened with the knowledge by which nescience is destroyed, then his knowledge reveals everything as the sun lights up everything in the daytime. So we, by as stated in today's verse, you can see that without the mercy of the Lord, you cannot come out from this material world. You cannot come out. There's no chance for us to come out. That's why Bahunam Janmanam Ante. Yes, after many, many births and deaths, only then you understand that Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead. Our position is, however, a little more pious in the sense that we have a spiritual master who is sent by Krishna to come and preach to us. I remember in one class Srila Prabhupada gave, and I think it's related to today's topic, where Srila Prabhupada said the scientists have, when they cannot explain something, they claim it as nature. So this morning walk where Srila Prabhupada was walking on the beach, and then there was this sand crabs that were on the beach as they were walking, So then the sand crabs, as they walk, they go back into the hole. So Srila Prabhupada asked the devotees there, why the sand crab has to go back into the hole? How does it know it has to go back into the hole? So everybody said this is nature. By nature, it goes back into the hole. Scientists explain it that way. We all are taught this is nature. But Srila Prabhupada said, no, this is not nature. It is nature in the sense it's under the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but this sand crab has the memory from previous life, many millions of life that it was this sand crab, so it needs to go back into this hole. That little remembrance of what it should do was from his past life as a sand crab, whichever millions of years ago. So this is how, just like I think yesterday I asked Prabhu this question, that just like the living entity, we are always forced to do something. We cannot not do anything. And every action of us is always permitted and authorized by the Supreme Lord. But then how, the question is, if our action is bad, supposedly, why would the Lord authorize a bad action if it's not for our own good? You get my point? Suppose, because the Lord is our original father, would any father want to see his children do something bad and get a resultant bad action? Obviously not, right? So why is the Lord allowing us to do bad things? That was my question. So the answer Prabhu gave is just like Srila Prabhupada said, we, the living entity, are always desirous, full of desires, unlimited, so much desires that the Lord, He does this to teach us a lesson. Just like Srila Prabhupada said, his son wanted to put his hand in the fan. And Srila Prabhupada told him, no, if you put your hand in the fan, you'll get cut. But no, he was very adamant. So he said, okay, you put. When he touched the fan, then he get cut. Then next time he asked his son, okay, you put the hand in the fan. And he said, no. So that's why we are, as I said in the beginning of the class, we are in this material world to be reformed. Once we go back to the spiritual world, we know that this is something we don't want to come back to experience because we already have this experience. So the thing is that this knowledge cannot be easily gotten only by the mercy of Guru and Krishna. Yes, Guru, Krishna, Kripaya, Paya. Without this, Guru and Krishna, from by the mercy of Krishna you get Guru, mercy of Guru you get, yes. So this is how we have to take advantage and come out from this entanglement. Like it or not, even as devotees, we are still entangled. Yes, we are still entangled in this material world. Doesn't mean that we are now become devotees, we are free. We are still suffering. Yes, we are still on the process of going out of this material. But at any point of time, we should be always very stringent and strict with our devotional service because at any point of time we can slip and fall. Yes? I think you all should know this verse. Sri Bhagavan Vacha Yasyaham Anugrahami Granami Harishye Tadhanam Sanai Tato Dhanam Tyajanti Asya Swajana Dukkha Dukkitam. The personality of Godhead said, if I especially favor someone, I gradually deprive him of his wealth. Then the relatives and friends of such poverty-stricken man abandon him. In this way, he suffers one distress after another. So, the reason being why I took this verse, because the reason we are working so hard in fruitive activities, right, is to attain what? Wealth, right? With wealth, then by thinking we get wealth, then we think, okay, all our problems will be periodically solved. We have no more problems. Even as devotees also, this is something that we want to be able to be comfortable as well as to practice devotional service. But the thing is, just like example, Sudama. Sudama, after he saw Krishna, when he went back home, he was big, got a big palace, so many maid servants, so many servants, guards, everything gold. Yes, but did he enjoy the palace? In fact, he was sleeping on the floor in a small corner of his house. Yes, yes. In fact, I think the devotees, they are very fearful of such gifts of the Supreme Lord. I think yes, I think was it yesterday? Yesterday's class. It's like Madhavendra Puri. Yes, the moment he found out that the Lord has kept this kheer for him, he before the sunrise he left the town. Why? Why? Because everybody will flock to him because now he's became famous. With that fame, he fall down. So the devotees are very, very cautious on every little detail on how they are practicing devotional service. So we must take lessons from these devotees, see how to navigate and overcome Maya. Because Maya is no easy matter. And even in the class yesterday, or not, was it Friday's house program, the example was given how this Chinese gentleman, high post, everything going well, staying in a very prominent area. I don't know if you know Bukit Timah. He stays in Bukit Timah. His house is in Bukit Timah, which is a quite affluent area, landed house. Then he had these children who were autistic, and then he murdered them. His wife divorced him. Now he's facing I think he's facing jail. So this is how uh, the material world can be very, very painful. Yes, we are thankfully not put in such a position. However, if Krishna wants to teach us a lesson, he can put us in any situation. Yes, so that's why we should be very serious in our practice of devotional service. You can see in even the next verse. When he becomes frustrated in his attempts to make money and instead befriends my devotees, I bestow my special mercy upon him. You can see even the example of Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada was doing a pharmaceutical business in Prayag, Allahabad. But he had many, many products actually, very that can become, uh, can make a lot of money. But in whatever attempt he did, it was never successful. Yes, I mean, Srila Prabhupada had a higher purpose. So Krishna never let him go astray and always directed him to preach Krishna consciousness. So that's why we as devotees should always take uh, take this seriously. Otherwise, with this uh, entanglement of the material world, we will forget. The real test will come when there is no, like now at least we have association of devotees. You can come to the temple, it's prasadam, yes. But if you are alone, then it's very, 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 very difficult. There's a saying, no? One stick you can break, but many sticks you cannot. That's why in the association of devotees, it's very, very important. United we stand, divided we fall. So this Krishna consciousness movement is the uniting factor. Our only objective is to serve Krishna. And this material nature, Maya, is trying to only serve Krishna in the best way, in the sense that she wants only the most eligible people to go back to Godhead. Yes, and not some half-baked devotees to go back. Let's see. Today's one. 5. 17:24, is it? Yeah, I can see. Karma Parvanim, knots of fruitive activity. So, in conclusion, this material world, we are entangled as living entities. We are forced to do fruitive activities. We have been forced into this body, and being given this body by force, we are forced to act. Now, without engaging ourselves in the right process of Krishna consciousness, then we will be further bewildered and forced to take repeated birth in them. Yes. However, once we take up this process of uh, Krishna consciousness, then these fruitive activities automatically become stopped. Just that's why this process of initiation. Yes, this is to finish your karma. Yeah, and then your reactions. That's why we are always indebted to the spiritual master, because he is the one who takes away your sinful life or all the karmic reactions. So that's why we are indebted to him for that, for what he has done. So now we should become serious and practice more, so that we don't have to come back again in this material world and suffer this thing. Yes. So, any questions, comments, points to add on today's class? Anything? I have to check online. Is it? Jai Gantraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Shri Prabhupada ki, Thai Guru.